Jason on the camera.
All right, let's do this.
Already recording.
Okay.
Great. All right, circle up, bring it in. Ghetto, fight you fight. If you might, you better step up. Any chance of you fighting? No? Okay. Yeah? Bring it in, shoulder to shoulder, make the circle complete. Here we go. So, welcome to the Throwdown. This will be the last Throwdown of 2018. Yeah. So, small group, it could grow. The general rule of things is that if you are new to the Throwdown, you have to stand in the circle, right? So you have to be here on time. Who's this first time fighting at the Throwdown? Yeah, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, great. So the context of the Throwdown is probably what makes this such an awesome experience. The context is that this is a learning environment, that this is a place where we go and we take some risks and we find some people that we can respect to take those risks with us. And it makes excellent landmarks for our training moving forward. So the other very important thing about the Throwdown is you tend to be fighting people that are outside of your circle. So my own experience was I was fighting for a very long time within my own circles, and then I just got really sick of hearing people say, "We're so good," and I was like, "Who are we fighting?" It's like just each other, right? So I was like, "How do we know?" It turned out we were pretty good, but it also turned out that there was a bunch of other schools that were touching on the stuff that we were touching on, and we didn't have a corner on any part of the knowledge base because there was other people out there doing it too, and that was very enlightening. So the Throwdown was born 2006, in fact. So this has been going on since then. At the beginning, the Throwdown was, we would get together, we would fight. There was no referees. There was just the open floor. We'd fight on the hardwood, and people would just be like sitting sporadically around, and you want to go? And it'd be like, yeah, and we would go. And that was it. There was no rules. There was no limits. So back then, people were putting notches in their belts. Back then, I was getting injured. So, and so were they. But it was intense. It was really intense. And then I let it go for a bit while I went off to the Dog Brothers. We came back with rules. We came back with context. Oh, you guys get in here, guys. So, so let's talk a little bit about what that context is. It's a fight by challenge event, meaning that the only way you're going to fight is if you go around and you find someone and say, "Hey, do you want to fight?" And they go, "Yes," and then you determine how you're going to fight, right? So this is your fight card. It's a contract between you and your partner. You and your partner, print your name, so that I can announce it properly. I know that your handwriting will diminish right after your first fight, so just try to print clearly. And the second part is the type of fight. So we've got some general outlines, right? We have MMA, kickboxing, boxing, grappling, weapons, right? And other. So generally speaking, don't assume that the person that you're fighting fights by the same rules that you're used to at your club or in your sport, right? Because if you say, "Let's kickbox," to me, well, I'm not a sport guy, right? So I don't do sport limits, right? However, I do safety limits, but it's different than what sport does, right? So don't make that assumption, talk about it. There are rooms here for restrictions. So for instance, some people will say, "Let's do MMA, but let's not wrestle." So what they're really saying is, let's do Sanda, right, or Sancho, right, and we'll get up after the takedowns, right? And so you'd want to put that in here, right? And your refs will know what that's about, okay? If you say, "Let's do weapons," I'm going to assume that, hey, Rory, how's it going? So I'm going to assume if you say, "Let's fight weapons," that it's MMA with a weapon, okay? So I will expect punching, kicking, and takedowns in with your weapons fighting. So if what you want to do is knife tag, write it in the comments, okay? And then you'll just be tagging each other with the knife, okay? So weapon types: sticks, sword, training knives, other. We've had some interesting things. You know, I always mention the umbrella and briefcase fight because I'd like it to happen again. I wasn't here for it, so that was on Ryan's watch. But yeah, it could be other, okay? Make sure that if you choose to do a certain type of fight, that you have the right equipment for the fight, right? No one fights without a mouth guard and groin protection, okay? No one fights without mouth guard and groin protection. You gotta have it. So, fight duration. If you're fighting a light fight, 2 minutes. If you're fighting a hard fight, you can choose 3 minutes. Now let's talk about intensity, right? This is probably the most important thing about the throwdown. There won't be any full contact tonight because I don't have our trauma nurse. I don't have a proper medic, right? And full contact, that means you're fighting to knockout or submission, right? That gets risky, yeah, especially in here where we don't have anything to stop you from going off the mat, okay? But the difference between a light fight and a hard fight. A light fight means that you're going to make contact with your glove. You're not going to drive through the foam and hit them with your fist, yeah? So you're going to make contact so that they know that you could make contact. You're going to make contact so that you know whether or not you could have delivered power or if you're just reaching out to touch, right? There's a big difference there, right? But this is, if it's your first time fighting, you should do light fights. Yeah, at least your first 5 fights should be light fights, right? Hard fight, because we used to have medium, right? We used to have medium, but we've discovered something. No one fights medium, right? As soon as that first shot lands, it escalates up to hard. So we just fight hard, which means it's real contact. Now, a hard fight is different from full contact in that in a hard fight, we still give quarter. What does that mean? It means if you don't look like you're defending yourself, I will continue to defend myself, but I'll give you a little bit of time and space to see if you're okay, right? And if you turn back and you're like ready to go, I'll go, okay, right? But if you don't turn back and you don't seem ready to go, I am not going to pounce on you. The Titans, as I like to call them, the experienced fighters, they know how to do that. So if you're fighting your first hard fight, I would suggest you find someone very experienced, someone who's maybe, you know, a little bit above your class to fight, because those few people will be able to protect you from yourself, right? This is another thing. If you're fighting your first fight, find someone that's fought in the throwdown many times, who's been at more than 5 throwdowns. Great, fight those guys, right, and gals. Because I know that first-time fighters will do suicidal shit. They just do. They don't know when they're walking into a big problem, and so an experienced fighter will be like, they might be able to defend themselves and not take you out at the same time, right? Although we all know that an inexperienced fighter is a completely unknown commodity and are totally dangerous to us too. Okay, so don't. Yeah, you might eat it. So, anybody have any questions about light and hard? Light, we're going minimal contact, but contact. Hard, we're throwing real strikes, but we give quarter. Okay? That's probably the most important thing. Again, if you're going a hard fight, you can go up to 3 minutes, because I know you need that first minute to feel each other out. Okay? In light fight, you don't need it. Just go for it. Right? Yep. When you do up a fight card, line up over here. So, hey Reg. So, just line up here. Right at the corner of this mat, and wait. Your referees will call you in. They'll take the card from you and your partner. By the way, when you're standing here, have your gear. Yeah? Have the card and your partner. Do not, and I'm speaking specifically to the people that do this all the time, do not fill out multiple cards and have someone standing here with your next fight card, okay? Like, go and fill out the card when you're done this fight, and then that way we won't hold up the fights. If anyone's like standing there with one fighter and a card, I'll throw it out, okay? So have your equipment with you. Again, no one fights without a mouth guard. Okay? Groin protection, well, it's recommended. Yeah? So, okay, light fights, yeah, I talked about that. Fight intensity, yeah, right clearly, I said that. So the referees, that'll be Mike and myself, yeah? So our only job is to make sure you keep this commitment, okay? I've been finding that the refs are kind of redundant, okay? Except when we have new people that don't really, know the culture, right? But generally, this group tends to clarify that really quick with everybody. So I'm not too worried about it. The most important thing here, look around this circle. Look at these people. All these people came here to take this risk with you. Yeah? They all want to get better. They all want to have a good experience. And they're going to take this risk. They might get hit. You might get hit. But show them respect. It is my experience that after a good, challenging fight, two people that have been in that fight want nothing more than to give each other a hug. Right? And if I see someone walk out of the fight going, fuck you, keep walking. Right out the door, please. Right? Because you're in the wrong place. Yeah? If you can't show that person respect at the end of the fight, then this is not the place for you. Okay? Although, I suspect this is the place for you. So, yeah. Video. At this time, I own all the video. So we'll do our best to capture all the video and post it on YouTube and then link it to the Facebook page. There has been a request recently to change those rules and allow coaches to take videos so that they can show their students what they want them to develop. And this was the way we used to do it, and people abused it. However, on the Facebook group, I am going to start a discussion over the holidays so that we can discuss that. The next Throwdown probably won't be until February, so we'll have time to discuss changes to the way that we run the Throwdown. I would like nothing more than to have everybody take their own photos, take their own videos, and contribute that back onto the Facebook page. And the reason that we stopped doing that was because we couldn't stop people from abusing those privileges, right? But we'll have the discussion, we'll see what we can do, because I'd love it. And besides, the Throwdown, as a growing thing, would grow much better with all of that activity, right? Because if you guys are posting videos and pictures, you'll be talking to each other, it'll be amazing, right? So I'd love to see that happen. Maybe you can help me see how to make it work. Yeah? I have nothing more to say. Is there any questions? Yes?
Clarify, are photos okay?
Photos are totally fine. Yeah? Then please share them all to the Facebook page. Yeah? Okay, so now that you've heard the context of the Throwdown, I'm Sean Zerger, I'm 48 years old, and having said that, this is my agreement to keep to the rules. Okay, so your name and your age, please.
Daniel Projel, 36. Michael, 24.
Full names, please.
Oh, Michael Kwok, 24.
Jimmy Zhang, 24. Sean Mahoney, 47. I'll follow the rules.
Victor Nero, 34.
I'm Nikki Thomas, I'm 37, and I consent to the rules of the Throwdown.
Adam Marchinsky, 45. I agree to the rules of the Throwdown.
Dave Kulos, 43. I agree to the rules of the Throwdown.
John Dempsey, 48.
Kevin Leong, 43. I agree to the rules.
Jeffrey Marvin, 29. I agree to the rules of the Throwdown.
Speak up, please.
Kyle Body, 26 years old, and I agree to the rules of the Throwdown.
Mark Bodner, 35, and I agree to the rules.
Simon Lee, 26, and I agree to the rules.
Edgar Kasimov, I'm 30, and I agree to the rules of the Throwdown.
Anthony Machilli, 26, I agree to the rules.
And Joe Fitzgibbons, I'm 24, and I agree to the rules of the Throwdown.
Mike Allen, 47, and I agree to the rules of the Throwdown.
Justin Pojor, 41, and I agree to the rules of the Throwdown.
Joe Whitkin, I'm 33, I agree to the rules.
Paul Olenko, I'm 33, and I agree to the rules of the Throwdown.
Great. I'm excited. The circle's growing, and I feel like a good vibe. So let's get to it. Yeah? Let's get ready. Let's get on the mats. Yeah.